I wanted to comment on the special appropriation for residents detained for deportation proceedings and briefly on the effort to establish equity criteria. Linda McMillan's memo really is excellent, and it bears mentioning that a study of deportation proceedings projected that legal representation improved the chances that a non-citizen would receive a successful immigration court outcome by 1,100%, from 4% to 48%. Without legal representation, there's only a 4% chance that an immigrant facing deportation would prevail. And we have all said that we are not going to stand by while the Trump administration intimidates and terrorizes and victimizes a very substantial part of our population, which is entirely mixed with the rest of the population. When you disrupt the status of someone who is out of status, you disrupt their family members, you disrupt their employment arrangements, you disrupt their children's lives, and there is no need for it. There's no benefit from it. The only benefit from the anti-immigrant rhetoric is the political benefit that is caused by generating more fear and the desire to see enemies around that you can only be saved from by a strong leader. This is a theme that has repeated itself throughout history, that leaders have suggested that there's a fifth column, a hidden enemy, and that only by trusting the leader can society be purified or saved from its own flawed component. And we don't believe that in Montgomery County. We entirely reject it. We entirely believe in Montgomery County that the fact that our population encompasses people from so many different backgrounds makes us a better and richer and more successful and more desirable place to live. So we thoroughly reject the idea that it is imperative to get rid of people. We reject the idea that it is appropriate to harass and victimize people. We reject the idea that it is appropriate for government to frighten people. That is not the job of government. The job of government is to look after the people who are here, no matter how they got here. We can't get rid of them. It isn't practical. I'm reading the emails now in response to this. I have one in front of me right now. It says, "Get the illegals out, then money might be available for something like the roads." No, sir, that's not so. It just isn't. I've thought about this for a long time. What if we were to do what they suggest? How would we do it? Well, the Trump administration is trying to find that out, and so deportations have increased dramatically. The number of undocumented immigrants in danger of deportation because of DACA rescission is nearly 700,000. Termination of TPS affects 250,000. These are people who are living in absolute panic with no societal benefit whatsoever. Society gains absolutely nothing from the removal of these individuals. No benefit. And great pain and anguish for families that are separated, the communities that these folks have left behind. The Sixth Amendment to the Constitution guarantees representation by an attorney for those in a criminal proceeding. And it is very important to keep in mind that an immigration proceeding is not a criminal proceeding. And so someone in a civil proceeding does not have a constitutional right to an attorney, but the spirit of the Sixth Amendment is what we're adhering to by advancing this principle today. That individuals who are accused have a right to due process and they have a right to legal representation. Now, I'm going to touch briefly, I know it's controversial, on the exclusions here because I do think they're important. As we defend our action, because we are going to get these emails, the tone in the community is out there among some, and there will be protest against this. We are not providing this defense to those who have been convicted of a violent crime. I know that there are advocates who think that we should do that, but the county's resources are limited, and so we are providing these resources for those who, as I said earlier, have committed a civil violation, not a criminal violation. and not a violent crime. And I think that's something we're going to have to continue to carefully navigate because there are different poles of opinion on that. And our job as elected officials is to weigh the equities and to strike an appropriate balance. And I believe we're doing that with the resolution that's before us. I know that that will bear continued discussion. I want to briefly thank Councilmember Navarro and others who suggest that all the decisions that we make should be viewed through an equity and social justice lens. And for those who haven't seen it, I want to commend to my colleagues King County, Washington's equity and social justice agenda, which I've been looking at for quite some time, and all of us have talked about our primary commitment is to equity and social justice and make sure that we are addressing the needs of everyone in our community. There are examples of decisions made by this council that I think would fail that test. I won't go into those here, but I welcome the renewed commitment by all of us to making those issues a priority. I anticipate that that will lead us to conversations that we might not otherwise have had about positions that we may take in the policy arena, in the land use arena, in constituent service. It is important to ask these questions, and there are pressing decisions before county government now that might not pass that test. But I'm glad that we're having the conversation.